We're keeping you in the loop on all things happening in the West Valley and this morning. You do not want to miss this. The last operational flying boat from World War II is in Peoria before it takes off to its final destination at the Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson.
What?
Will Pitts is now on the airplane. You guys, if you could see how gigantic this thing is. Will, you look like Polly Pocket up there.
Huge plane. Remember I said the last hit that there was a hatch that popped out of the nose of this thing where you could kind of dock it? This is the hatch. The plane ends right there. So I'm in the nose of this thing, and believe it or not, the cockpit is actually up higher than I am right now. This whole thing is 20 some odd feet tall on the trailer. With the tail, it's 40 something feet tall. So this is a gigantic plane. Ramon Purcell is down in the other hatch over here. He's been following this whole thing from the beginning, and you guys have done a lot of work. There's a lot of stuff pulled out of this thing, but it's fairly intact, right?
Yeah, everything inside is intact. It's just as the day it landed. The only difference is the tail, we had to take that off, and then the wing. So apart from that, all the controls, the headsets are still inside.
Yeah, that was a cool thing that you told me when we were doing a tour of this plane, is that everything that was in it when it landed, that's how it's going to be displayed.
Yep.
Very
Exactly
cool.
that way. Yeah.
So this thing is a flying boat. This thing never had wheels on it.
Nope.
Why Lake Pleasant?
Because it had the largest boat ramp in order to get the aircraft out. So they have their 10-lane ramp, and that actually fit the 200-foot wingspan of the aircraft.
Because this thing has all the problems of a boat and a plane at the same time.
Yep.
Because you were trying to get it out of the water, and I noticed the first day we were there, it was too windy. You couldn't tow it.
Yep.
Because it was kind of drifting all over the place.
Yep.
How big a lift is this thing to get it where you need to go in Arizona, where we don't have any water for it to land on?
It's an incredible feat to make it happen. There's a lot of planning. There's been years of planning in this, so it's nice seeing it come together.
And we've been seeing people stop by, yell out the windows, "Oh my God, it's the plane!" That woman at our last hit that was, so ecstatic. She stopped, pulled over the car. She almost hit some things on the way in, and then swerved over, came to give you a hug, wanted photos with it. How amazing is it that, I mean, there are people that are so fond of this plane?
We're honored. We're really honored. I mean, it's heartfelt that we can just share a little bit of her history, and that people love her so much. So we're thankful.
This is the last flying, was the last flying one of these. There were only 7 ever made, though.
Yeah. Only 7, and the last 2 have been flying for the last, since the mid-'60s. And the only thing larger than this was the Spruce Goose.
Only thing larger than this was a Spruce Goose?
Yep.
Wow, okay, this is a very big plane.
Yeah.
And especially to be flying for another 60 years on top of that, that's impressive that this thing has survived this long.
And put out an incredible amount of forest fires. When she became a fire bomber, she was able to put out 60% of a fire in the first day.
Because this is a scooper. It lands on the water, it sucks up the water, and then takes back off without ever stopping.
Yeah. Which is now you have the smaller version, the Canadair aircraft that were used at the LA fires, and they're bringing almost the same amount of water.
Very cool. This thing has taken another 4 days to get down to Tucson to the Pima Air and Space Museum, where it will be restored, rebuilt, and then put on display where you can go in it, check it out, and see it just how it was the day it landed back in February, guys.
Well, Will, that goes down in history as one of the coolest live shots of all time. What you can't see from your vantage point, Will, are there people on the other side of that plane that we were just showing that have pulled over to come and see that. That's how cool this plane is. It's so historic.
And the fact there, I mean, I was joking.
There are people pulling over all the time looking at this thing.
Well, I mean, it's just obnoxious sitting there in the middle of the road. And it's going to take 5 days, 4 days, 5 days to basically walk it to Tucson.
And they have to do it overnight. Because they don't want to snarl up traffic.
You got to remove all that stuff, lights or whatever. That's impressive.
Will, this is a really cool moment, especially for you, because I know you've been following this plane story for quite some time.
Yeah, I was out there when it landed. I think the day after it landed, when they tried to get it up there, the wind, as we said, was a little too high, and it couldn't. The waves were kicking it a little bit, and they couldn't quite get it out of there. But then once they finally got it out, they pulled it over. They started taking it apart. I got a tour of it then, and I got to pop out of the hatch at that point. But yeah, it's kind of wild to see this thing, completely out of the lake and on the side of the road and on its way down to Tucson. As you said, this is going to be overnights. So these poor guys have been up. I mean, I think one of the guys that was on this crew has been up since 4 a.m. yesterday.
Oh.
And a bunch of guys have, spent the entire night trying to direct this thing from Lake Pleasant all the way to here, because it takes the entire road. I mean, it's not just one lane. This thing is 2 lanes wide. You have to shut everything down in order to get this thing down.
Will, you look tiny.
You're tiny.
You
Oh,
look so
this is
small
just
up
the
there.
coolest thing. Will, thank you so much. This is such a treat. All right.